Hello students! In this lesson, we will be exploring the topic of audience analysis. So, by the end of this lecture, you should have an understanding of the definition of audience analysis, understand the importance of audience analysis. You should understand how to use audience analysis. You should understand demographic, psychographic, and situational analysis and know the difference. And you should also be able to identify tools for gathering audience information. So let's get started. So what exactly is audience analysis? Well, it is the process of gathering information from your audience so that you can understand their needs, expectations, and attitudes. So it's the process of gathering information so that you can develop a speech that caters to your audience. So that, like, when you're doing a persuasive speech, that you can persuade your audience effectively. When you're informing them, that you can inform them effectively on things that they might not already know. So that's what audience analysis is catering to your audience and finding things out so you can meet their needs. So why should we conduct an audience analysis? Well, first, it acknowledges the audience. Establishing, eye contact and thanking them for listening to your presentation is really important when, in order to acknowledge the audience, because eye contact, like I've been saying many times before, is that eye contact really shows the audience that you're acknowledging them. And plus, thanking them for listening, at the end of saying thank you. Like, that shows that you care and that, you are acknowledging your audience. And audience analysis helps us to acknowledge the audience. It helps us to acknowledge that we care about the audience, that we want their viewpoints. We want to hear their thoughts before we give a speech, and it really overall shows that we care as a speaker about what the audience thinks. We also conduct an audience analysis to choose worthwhile topics, selecting a topic that is meaningful for an audience, and doing research to ensure that topic will be meaningful. So I think sometimes what might be helpful too is like selecting 3 topics and getting audience's opinion on all 3 topics and seeing which topic might be the most meaningful to your audience. I think that would be a good way to do it, to conduct an audience analysis, is to see which topic the audience feels is one that they would be most interested in, being the most effective in kind of working with that. Clarity. Saying topic clearly, using language that your audience will understand, and letting the audience know what they should expect. So the reason why we conduct an audience is so that we can use language that is not only understandable to them, but also letting them know what they should expect. So when you do an audience analysis, you're kind of giving them an idea of what they should expect and what they're expecting from you. What is the audience expecting from you? So it's clarity. It's to form a better understanding of the audience, and so that they can form a better understanding of your speech. And like, even with language, it's kind of understanding what they know and what they don't know. Controversial topics are important and risky. It is important to choose a topic carefully and consider the audience. It's always important to acknowledge and consider the audience first. You should never put, just because you're interested in a topic does not mean your audience is. You need to make sure that that's going to suit the audience. Not just suit your needs, it's going to suit the audience needs. You should always put the audience first. Another reason why we do audience analysis is to adapt the speech to the audience needs. People in the audience have different perspectives and experiences. People in the audience aren't just the same. Just because they're all college students does not mean that they're the same. They have all different experiences. They have all different backgrounds. That's why it's important to conduct an audience analysis to see what their background is, to see what their viewpoints are, to see what their perspectives are, to get kind of an overall understanding of the audience to help you adapt to them. Because if you really want to give a good persuasive speech and really persuade your audience, or you want to give a good informative speech that really informs your audience, you need to be able to adapt to audience's needs and what they want. And also considering audience diversity is another reason why we conduct audience analysis. Being respectful of the audience to avoid racism, discrimination, and other issues. Respect and diversity is important in all interactions. So it's kind of like I was saying above, it's like, we all have different backgrounds, we all have different races, we all have different genders. That's why it's important to not only adapt to the audience, but also to consider their diversity, to consider their background, which is also important in audience analysis. It's also to avoid offending the audience. Speakers need to be mindful of their language and nonverbal behaviors to ensure that they are not offending the audience. Sometimes with certain speeches, like abortion, for example, it can be offensive to others. I remember my group and I one time I was taking this leadership class, and we kind of did an audience analysis to see what our group thought, and some of them found the topic to be offensive. So sometimes you have to conduct an audience analysis to ensure that you're not offending the audience, because if you are, then you need to reconsider a topic. So really, audience analysis is all about finding the right topic that suits the needs of your audience and helps you get your message across. And ethical speaking, sincere speaking, credibility, trust, and sincereness are all important in order to maintain positive relationship with the audience. Alright, let's look at demographic analysis. So demographic analysis is basically the demographic features of the audience, like your age, the gender, which can define human experiences, culture, religion, which is an indicator of patterns in family relationships and attitudes. So you might want to be mindful of that. Group membership, maybe, they're in the Key Club, or they've joined they're part of the LGBTQ community or whatever. And also education, have still education levels. Are they young, like in elementary? Are they older in college? What are they? And also occupation. You have to consider their occupation. What do they do for a living? So now that we've looked at demographic analysis, let's look at psychographic analysis. This focuses on more the audience attitudes, beliefs, and values. Pre-existing notions about topic. Know your audience in order to make judgments about how their views of your topic will be influenced. Never just assume. Never just assume that your audience views it this way. That's why audience analysis is so important, because it allows you to get to know your audience without judging them. I think some people just automatically judge the audience without getting to know them, so you have to get to know them in order to understand them. When doing an audience analysis, ask questions that show how much your audience knows about the topic. Consider the stereotypes about it. So make sure that you're actually asking the audience questions about what they know about the topic to gain more information, to see, well, what do they know about the topic and what do they don't, to help you better prepare for the speech. And also pre-existing notions about you. People make impressions and opinions of us immediately. And considering your audience's needs and not on trying to get them to change their opinions of you, in order to get them to appreciate you, make sure to get their needs addressed directly. You can go ahead and judge your audience as much as you want, but your audience can judge you. Your audience can make little assumptions of you. So that's why it's important to do these surveys or do these audience analysis to get the audience to learn more about you as well and just feel you out and what your opinions are, what your thoughts are. So it's kind of a good chance to get to know one another and see what your opinions are. Situational analysis focuses on characteristics related to speaking situation. So that would include audience size, so like, big, small, be an audience size, and then the occasion. Are you speaking to, somebody at a wedding? Are you speaking to somebody, at a funeral? Are you speaking to an audience, at a ceremony? So you have to analyze the occasion, see what to analyze, see what occasion you're speaking at. And in addition, to determine the audience size, are you speaking to a larger group? Are you speaking to a smaller group? And then physical setting, being mindful of the factors that will affect your speech. So seeing what will affect my speech. Like maybe you're doing a speech outside, so distractions might occur. Or maybe you're doing a speech in a loud lecture hall where you need to raise your voice, and that's where you have to consider the physical environment that you will be in. Tools for gathering audience information. Direct observation, observing the audience. Maybe like if you were doing kind of a classroom study of students, you might go into a classroom of students and kind of observe them and kind of make notes of them. Or maybe you were doing a speech on, like, let's say a club, like the Tea Club. You might go into a club's meeting and kind of see what they do and what their group members are like. You can also do a focus to a small group of people who give you feedback about their perceptions. Purpose is understanding groups' beliefs, attitudes, and values for your topic. So you might go into like a small group, like maybe like I said, Key Club, and you might learn about their attitudes and beliefs. And they can also give you feedback on their perceptions on what they think about your topic. So it kind of gives you a good way to learn from them, but also for them to learn from you. And using existing data about your audience, find degree of investment of education. So how much education do they have? What level of education do they have? They have a master's degree, bachelor's degree. Consider their education. Learn significant facts about the audience. Learn about their demographic information. Learn about their background. Learn about their experience. Learn about their education. Look about their occupations. Learn about their hobbies. Use demographics collected by organizations. Is another one. Interviews and surveys, and make sure questions are related to topic. Make sure that they will give you information to conduct your audience analysis. Make sure that they will give you information to do your research and to write a paper. Interview at least 10 to 20 people. You probably don't have to interview that much, but at least 5 to 10 would be ideal so that you get a better understanding of what the audience feels about your topic and what they think. They can give you some feedback. How to use audience analysis. Prepare content with audience in mind. So ability to find a topic that is interesting to you and beneficial to the audience. You have to consider the audience first. Consider that it is beneficial, it's interesting to you, but you also have to select a topic that is interesting and beneficial to the audience, most importantly. That's what comes first. And ensure that the content will be clear and understandable. Make sure that what you're telling your audience is understandable to both you and to the audience. Because if you can't understand it, likelihood that your audience won't understand it. So making sure that you choose language that is appropriate for the audience. And also adjusting speech based on analysis. Watching audiences' nonverbal feedback during the speech, which can help a speaker know what adjustments to make to content delivery. I think I mentioned this in a few lectures back about delivery, where I said that, sometimes you have to watch for that nonverbal feedback. What is your audience trying to say to you? Are they slouching down? Are they shutting their eyes? Are they sleepy? You have to look at the nonverbal behaviors to kind of make that assessment. Should I do this more? Should I do this more? Should I speed up? Should I speak louder? You kind of have to gauge with what your audience is telling you. And allow speakers to make adjustments based on physical setting. Kind of allows them to make any adjustments that they might need to avoid distractions or whatever, maybe. Okay. That is the conclusion of audience analysis, and I look forward to speaking with you all soon.